Welcome to the Riding in the Weeds podcast, where we tackle life's inevitable challenges, from navigating mountain bike trails to overcoming business hurdles and forging deeper connections with pets and people. It's easy to find yourself tangled in the weeds, but we're here to help with insights and strategies that'll get you out of the weeds. Our goal is to boost your performance in both sports and everyday life by sharing essential skills that we've learnt along the way. Through tales of our entrepreneurship journey, thrilling biking adventures, and fostering meaningful relationships, your hosts, Natasha, Lockey, and Ginny, Branden, will guide you on a journey that's not only enjoyable, but also inspiring. Join us to gain confidence that you need to navigate the trails of life. Welcome to Riding in the Weeds. You are here for episode 63. Today we are diving into the idea of how knowing your why allows us to go easy. Because the messages we're being given out there is that when we're going too fast, when we're going too hard, we are creating stress that doesn't need to be there. Often that stress and that need to go hard, to stay busy, to do is out of fear. A lot of the times, the reason we're in fear is because we're unsure of what we're doing here. At the end of the day, what we're doing here is we are supposed to just be here experiencing. We are in the human experience. So if we're spending all of our time worrying about what happened in the past and worrying about what's going to happen in the future and not thinking about where we are right now, we lose track and we start going hard. And when people say you should go easy, you think to yourself, well, no, I've got too much to do. Well, you can actually go hard while being an ease and flow. It is the way that we wrap this up that dictates how the experience feels for us. And if you really want to go back to that, you can listen to last week's episode, which was a little bit more about that experience. But this episode is really for you. If when you hear someone say, take it a little bit more easy, you go, no, I don't know how to do that. Or you say to yourself, oh, that would be really good for me, but I'm just so used to going hard. So we're going to dig into this. I'm Natasha Lockey. I am a performance, life, and bike coach, and I'm here to help you find ways to really ground into the fact that you're living your dream life right now. And of course, we have my amazing co-host, Ginny Branden, who is an expert animal communicator and has the most amazing perspectives on all of these topics. So without further ado, let's dig right in. And Ginny, what are your first thoughts on this?
Yeah, we're having this conversation, hashing out where to go with this episode before we started. And I think what really lands for me is the fact that when you have a solid why, things get to be easy, but that doesn't mean that they're not hard and that you're not working hard. And when I think about the times in my life when I've been very, very clear on what I'm doing, where I'm going, what my purpose is, the next steps just fall into place. I don't have to think about them. I don't have to struggle about knowing what to do. I just know what to do when I do it. And I also don't have to hunt down the motivation. And when you're clear on that, then it does get to be easy and you get to do things with ease. That doesn't mean you're not working hard, but you get to do things with ease. And I think that's the sort of clarifying factor here for me.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I find there's so much out there. Simon Sinek came up with his book, Understanding Your Why. He's got a TED Talk. And it's really interesting because that's old, right? It's like 10 years ago. And yet in a lot of places that has been resurfacing for me. And I listen to that sort of stuff and I'm like, yeah, I hear what you're saying. And I have been in so many programs that are like, you need to know your why. And I sit there and I'm like, what's my why? And I think because I am somebody who literally runs Betty Go Hard, things have always been a go fast for me. And it's always been a little bit of a running away from the factor. I remember having a conversation with a guy in a gym one day, and he said to me, you can't hate away the fat. And it struck home because he could see in my energy that I wasn't rowing because I wanted to get better and stronger. and be a faster rower. He could see that I was in a space of doing exactly what he said. I was hating away the fact. The harder I rode, the faster it was going to go away and the more I could love myself. And that, my friends, is not a why that's going to get you very far. It's not going to feel good. And it is sure as heck not going to be easy in anything you do if
Yeah.
that's your foundation motivation.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because we were talking before we jumped on about accountability, and a lot of the fitness programs out there like, oh yeah, we got all this accountability for you. And the funny part is I was sort of laughing that I can distinctly see in certain areas of my life that even if I had accountability, it wouldn't matter. It would not matter whether or not someone was like bugging the crap out of me to be able to do something, try and achieve my goal or not, because the why wouldn't be there. I don't have the motivation or the clarity at this point in time to make that big change that I need to make. So the accountability doesn't matter. I wouldn't care. But yet the flip side of that is my meditation app just told me I got like 100 little gold stars for meditating for however many days in a row now. And I'm thrilled about it because to me, meditation is important. I do have a solid grounding in the fact that I need to do it every day. Funny part is, when you ask me the why, I don't even think I can clearly articulate it. I just know when I don't do it that I wish I had or that I miss it. Yeah, it takes a few days for me to be like, oh crap. But those little extra stars that I get are just the icing on the cake for doing something that I already am clear on in the first place. And so for me, it's just the fun perk that I get to have that shows it's an external validation of the fact that I've done it. But every morning, I don't struggle to go sit down and meditate. The doing it is not the problem. So I don't have to worry about it because my why is grounded internally in my body. I know without a doubt that that is something that is beneficial to me. When that's how your why is, it gets to be that easy. The only times I forget it are when my schedule gets so crazy that I'm thinking 10 steps ahead. That's when I miss my meditation. And then I wish I had done it. I regret it because those are the times I need it the most, right? Because I'm not present. This is irony, but like that's how that works for me. So I don't have to worry about it. There's an ease to doing it because of the fact that my why is so solid. That doesn't mean that there aren't days when it is hard to stay sitting there on my mat for however long I've decided. Some days I don't make it, and that's okay, but I still have my why that I go back to every single day. It's just there. I don't have to question it.
Yeah, I like that. And for me, the insight timer has been really, really cool because even if I just do 2 minutes, I've done 2 minutes.
You get your star.
And I don't even know where to look for my stars. But what I do know is that I'm at like 81 days now. And it's interesting how quickly that time has added up. I feel like I just started doing it yesterday. And my why is really knowing that that is going to be beneficial for me. And that even just thinking about the idea of meditating is starting to create more ease and flow. And I can see we're just being present with the idea of, okay, I'm going to meditate today. I was really struggling in July and I sat down and I wrote myself out a spreadsheet of all the things I wanted to do in the day. And I would put a little cross next to them. And what's interesting is now I'm forgetting to fill in the days, but I don't need it so much because I've now stepped into, oh, I didn't work out. My shoulder hurts. The shifting of my intense focus on the fact that I was gaining weight and how I didn't want to gain weight has actually started to shift into my body feels better when I work out. And if I do a yoga practice after my quick workout, my body feels even better. And then for some reason, I don't know what it was that sparked this one, I got back into doing my Qigong. And within days of doing a 7-minute Qigong, my shoulder issue is starting to dissipate. So now I don't want to miss my Qigong. And a lot of it is related to how it feels for me. I've started to take the shift from being afraid that my clothes aren't going to fit me to wanting my body to feel good and knowing what it feels like. Even this morning on my run, I was running along and I was like, wow, isn't it amazing that my body can do this? And it might seem small for somebody who's very fitness orientated and very strong, fit, and have been that way my entire life. But for 15 years, I couldn't run because I had this knee issue. And it's plug for collagen here, but it is thanks to the liquid collagen I've been taking that has allowed me to start running again. So the joy I take in being able to run through the forest with my puppy is actually, that's my why. And until this morning, when I was really being present, might have been because for some reason my playlist was doing Hindu chants for me, because that's what my husband's been listening to. I was so in the moment. And the only reason I went for a run was because I wanted some puppy time. And running through the forest here is just spectacular. And it's different to riding my bike through the forest because I'm in it. And I was like, wow, when I've consciously shifted myself from that mindset of going hard to remove myself from all the things that are uncomfortable in my life to this ease and flow, and instead of trying to remove myself from what I don't like, actually being present with what I do want more of, it's like I live in a different space. And it's so cool.
I think that is one of the things that the why needs to be able to bring you joy. If your why is because you hate your body weight or how your body looks, that why is going to be a lot harder to work for than the why that's attached to the joy of running or the feeling of ease in your body or the feeling of ease moving through your day by meditating. For me, one of the other big things that meditation does is it allows me to connect with animals. I can't do that if I don't sit my butt down and get clear at least once a day for minimum a few minutes. If I'm really feeling pressed, I can pull it together. I can't do that long term. So I've got to be able to put in the time to maintain that connection. And it's not just with individual pets, but that's with the universal energy in general. And when your why brings you joy, that's when it makes the ease come even faster. Sure, you can choose the why of hating away the fat or of not wanting to do something or the opposite of wherever you are, of resisting that as your why. But that's not going to make things in the long run feel good. So why would you do that? Why would you pick that as your why when you have a whole host of joyful things that you could go for?
The first comment that you made about your accountability, there are places in your life where it doesn't matter how accountable someone's trying to make you be. You're going to be like, nope, not doing it, because they're trying to make you be accountable to a why that is you resisting something that you don't want. That's so 100% it, because it's not going to work for very long if our why is based in resistance. The why needs to be based in a feeling of future me is going to feel like this because I have done this. And if we are starting to friend that future us, now we've actually got a connection, as opposed to our why being based in a fear that past us has experienced.
Yeah. And I think there's a distinction in there that sometimes the fear part can be motivating in the beginning. I'm an adult learner bike rider. I literally learned to ride a bike 2 years ago. I did not do that in my childhood because of medical reasons and a lot of other stuff. And so my boyfriend was pushing me to get a bike and learn to ride a bike. And there was a lot of fear around that because of all the stuff I had missed out on as a kid. I just didn't have any positive experiences to ground into that. And so in the beginning, there was some fear and resistance. The reason that I was doing it was because it was something we could do together. And so there was hesitation, but I was very quickly able to get through that and find the joy in it. And I think you're part of the motivating factor because you have so much fun on your bike. So when you have someone else around you whose why is very easy and clear and joy filled, then it makes it easier to make that leap when you do have resistance or you are dealing with fear issues. If you know your deeper why and you want to get to that, and in between you and that is the resistance, find somebody that can let you borrow their joy and can show you the joy in it. So if you're trying to follow a coach or a mentor or someone who is basing their entire product or entire system on resistance and or on forcing that why through, that might not be the best person to follow because the results are not likely to be long term. I'm now over 1,000 days total meditation time in, I don't know, 7 or 8 years. The first several years were super bumpy and I had stints where it went for a while and then I'd have months where I wouldn't meditate. But the last, I don't know, I'd say over 800 days of that has literally been almost consecutive with only missing about 8 days. And that's because my why is so much more solid and grounded within myself now for a really positive, joyful reason. And that's my practice of being able to connect with other animals and with the universal energy. There's so much value in that to me that I don't want to miss it now. So, how can you find someone who's really tuned into that if you need a little bit of a motivation to get through to the point where you can find the joy? If you know it's there, it's got to be there somewhere. How can you find something that's going to help you break through that resistance in a positive way so that you're not constantly pushing against it? When you're pushing against it, that's when it's going to fall apart pretty quick.
Yeah, everything you said is absolutely true. It's so important that we are moving forward versus resisting against. And you are the sum of the 5 people that you hang out with. So I think you're very right. I've connected with a few coaches recently and they were trying to sell me so hard on the accountability. And I was like, I don't need accountability. I actually just need some information. So do I actually already know the information? Maybe I am just a little lost because I've been a little lost lately based on some health issues. It's not that I didn't have the information. It's not that I don't have the motivation. It's not that I don't have the determination. It's literally that I just needed some information. And when I spoke to these people, I realized, you know what? I actually do know this stuff. And this is not what I need to get me there. Maybe if I could join a gym and go to a class with a community, that might help because it would be giving me the information. It's something different. Really, at the same time, I didn't need to reinvent the wheel. That wasn't the problem. So I think you're right. It's really finding those people that resonate with what it is you're needing. And you don't know what you're needing unless I feel like we're just repeating ourselves. But if you know your why, you know what you're looking for, you know what you need, and you're able to say, no, that's not for me. That's exactly what I need right now. The other point I wanted to make was when I posted recently about the whole idea of going easy. And I think maybe I need to start a support group for, for people, and we'll call it Betty Go Easy. And the idea being that it's like for recovering go harders. But what I found was I had a couple of people that commented, they were like, yeah, I feel this, but I'm so used to going hard, I don't know what that would look like. And what landed for me, I was like, this is where we have it wrong. Is it just because you're doing things with the idea of ease and flow, it doesn't mean you're not working hard. Doing a workout with the idea of ease and flow doesn't mean you're not getting sweaty and it's not going to hurt and you're not going to push your limits. It's just getting to that space and moving through that discomfort is much easier because there isn't the resistance, because your why is not based in that resistance. And the same thing with my run this morning. I wasn't out there trying to achieve anything, but that didn't mean that I wasn't working hard, that I didn't want to see how fast I could run, that I didn't want to push myself to not walk in sections, that I worked my ass off getting myself to the top of this really steep hill without walking. There were moments where I was going hard in my run, but it felt really good because it was within that ease and flow. And it just really struck me. I was like, no, the idea is that you're not just, I'm not even sure what we relate to when we think of easy when you're somebody who has been going hard. But the point being is that you're working towards something that feels good. And that's where the ease and flow comes from. It's not in how you are doing the activity. It's not the intensity at which you work at. It's the energy at which you do it in.
Yeah, 100%. And what's funny as you're saying this is I'm sitting here thinking I can come up with all the words for the hard side. We talk about hustling, we talk about grinding it out. All of those words come up very quickly, but what is the opposite of that? And how do you incorporate that in your life? That's not our culture. Our culture is hustle and grind. That's all that people have the capacity to think about now. And the problem is that that's like the fast track to burnout. That's the fast track to health problems. And the hard thing is sometimes you don't find out your why until the universe proverbially smacks you upside the head with it. Occasionally, in order to get our attention clear enough, the universe has to sit us down sometimes. That's when the health problems come up. That's when the burnout comes up. That's when the extreme fatigue comes up. Those are the big stop signs that the universe smacks in our face and says, hey, you cannot keep going this way. You cannot keep living the way you're living if you want to continue to do things. Sometimes we have to figure out how to sit down. I know I'm a busy person. I stay busy a lot. I am in motion all the time. And to be able to sit down and meditate for me is huge. And that's why it took me so long to actually figure out how to do it. I think I first loaded Insight Timer in like 2015. So if you figure that I've been doing that since 2015, it's now 2024. That's 9 years to get 1,000 days, knowing that the last 800 of them were almost consecutive. That's how many years of 200 and some odd days? That's like 7 years for 200 days. That's a really bad ratio, right? But it took me that long to really get clear on my why and to embody it and to be able to find that ease. Sometimes it takes time. There are a lot of things right now that I would love to add to my repertoire of things that I do all the time, every day, consistently, or every week or monthly or whatever, that I'm still experiencing resistance around. And one of the things I think that makes the difference is recognizing that there's resistance there and just sitting with it and allowing it to be until we can allow it to resolve. Because I can't tell you what changed about meditating for me. It was just one day I decided it was pretty stupid that I couldn't sit still for 10 minutes in silence. And from there, it pretty much clicked and I was able to move on. Up until then, I literally had not been able to make myself sit down for 10 minutes in silence. Like, that's ridiculous, right? That is seriously ridiculous. Like, when you say it out loud, it's hilarious. But there was internal resistance there. And so what can you do? You have to allow that to resolve itself.
Yeah, I love that. I have a friend who gave up smoking. And we were talking to him a few months ago, and he's like, yeah, I don't smoke anymore. He's like, you know what did it for me? It was exactly the same as what you just said. He was like, I sat there and I was thinking, this is really stupid. I can't stop taking this thing and putting it in my mouth and doing this motion of hand to mouth. He's like, this is ridiculous. And so he just stopped. And it was literally that exact mindset that you just spoke through that he did out loud. He was like, this is stupid. And he had tried everything, nicotine patches, like all of the gimmicks, all of the things, because he had believed that it was hard to stop smoking. And he had the resistance. And because he had been told that it would be that hard, he thought it was hard. And he was like, how? This is ridiculous. How is this hard? I just stopped doing that thing. And it's the same for me. I just stopped drinking. It wasn't hard. I mean, sure, I wasn't an alcoholic. I wasn't drinking excessively. But last night I really reflected as I was sitting in an environment that is my favorite environment to be in, having conversations around a table with beautiful, expensive wine and enjoying a glass whilst we have appies and just chilled out. And everybody else at the table was drinking wine. And it struck home to me that I didn't need to be drinking the wine with them in order to partake in that energy and that experience. And it wasn't hard. I didn't sit there wishing I had a glass of wine in front of me. I was stoked that I had my kombucha. And I knew that I was probably enjoying my kombucha more than I would have enjoyed a glass of wine. What was really funny was by the end of the evening, I was feeling like I was drunk. I'm like, what's in this kombucha?
It is fermented. I mean, just saying.
It's got to be, right? Started losing my words. I couldn't think straight. I was like, this is really interesting. But yeah, there's something hard about it because I've chosen. I remember a coach saying years ago, once you decide, like a vegetarian doesn't go to a barbecue and stand there thinking, oh, should I eat the hot dog or not? It's not even a concept because they're a vegetarian that don't eat hot dogs. Someone who doesn't drink isn't sitting at the table the whole time going, oh, I really want to drink. I don't drink. So why would I even be having that conversation with myself? I'm not missing something that I don't do. I think that applies. Why would you not meditate? Well, you're going to meditate because you're someone who meditates. You're going to exercise because you're someone who exercises. You're going to eat healthy because you're someone who eats healthy. Like once you've just made that shift mentally to become the person who does whatever it is you're wanting to do. Honestly, half of my not drinking was I admired people that said things like, I don't drink. I'm like, I want to be someone who gets to say that.
I think one of the pieces of this puzzle is that step along the way of deciding you're the kind of person who does fill in the blank. And I think that's a step in the process that's overlooked or ignored, really, because we don't find the value in that stage of the experience. We're so worried about being over on the other side of it that we don't find value in the process of deciding we're going to be the type of person who doesn't smoke or doesn't drink or meditates every day or is fit. Because until we actually get to that point where we can envision ourselves as being that person, we're not ready. And no amount of wishing you weren't smoking is going to make you stop putting your hand to mouth at that point. Of putting the cigarette in your hand and doing it. And you'll find yourself with a cigarette in your hand without even thinking about it. You'll find yourself with the wine in the glass without thinking about it. Or skipping the workout, or not doing the thing without even recognizing that you're in the middle of that process again. So there's that point where you have to be able to embody the thing before you can actually do it on the external. That becomes so important. So if your why isn't embodied yet, then you aren't the kind of person who can do that. And there's no shame in that. You have to go through those steps before you get to the actual external in order to make it happen. And if you're not there yet, you're not there yet. And no amount of getting mad at yourself about it is going to make it change any faster. So being able to allow yourself to just be in that process. I think that's 3/4 of what our episodes are about, is just be in your process. Don't make the process wrong. So allow yourself, that. If you don't want to drink, if you're thinking about not drinking, but you want to have a glass of wine, have a glass of wine. As long as it's not some kind of crazy health issue that you're dealing with that's going to really cause you harm. You're not allergic to the thing or something. Then be that person that's in that process. That's okay.
I really want to say too that what I also love is we've had a few people come and stay at the lodge and they're like, yeah, we're the sort of people that drink wine. And they love it, and it's part of their experience, and they're not giving up anytime soon. And why should they? There's absolutely none of this is to say that what you're doing right now is wrong. If you're the sort of person that is perfectly happy with how you feel in your body and you love to eat cake and do whatever it is, the thing that you're doing, you enjoy it. It is only if you're in a space where you're not enjoying where you're at in life that you need to make a difference. And I think that's something that's really important in all areas. That so often we look around ourselves and see other people doing things, and because of that we think we need to do them too. I remember listening to a podcast and the chick was like, I only have 34 items of clothing. And for the longest time I felt guilty that I had more than 34 items of clothing, until I finally realized that I wanted more than 34 items of clothing. And why was I trying to be something that I didn't want to be? Like, that's great for her.
She must not have hobbies or sports that require any specialized clothing, because that was my first thought was, gee, I have my riding clothes, I have my biking clothes, I have my barn clothes, I have my nicer clothes that I actually do go outside in. That's just par for the course.
Well, I figured that maybe I got to have 34 items of fitness gear and 34 items of bike gear and 34 items
right?
of nice going out. So it's like different categories, which again, that's not a lifestyle for me. Now, I live in a camper. Like, I'm definitely not saying that everyone needs to minimalize and live in a camper. This is what works for me, but it certainly is not going to work for Ginny because she couldn't fit all her books in the camper. So
my pony doesn't fit in the camper either.
the pony doesn't. Well, you can get campers where the pony would fit in the camper, but
True.
that's
and they're as expensive as my house. That's problem number 2.
very true. And again, I felt guilty for not being the person who had 34 items of clothing because I had listened to this thing, but I'm never going to be that person. So, like, forget that. And that, I think, is what is important. Again, coming back to the knowing your why. You don't have to work hard to stick your round peg into a square hole. If you don't fit there, then move on. There's the whole thing about you should have this morning routine. Well, now there's been a huge backlash against that because people are like, well, that's ridiculous. Great for you. I love it that it's working for you. I'm going to go and do something that works for me. What is it that you want to feel every day?
I think that falls into the whole get up at 4 a.m. thing, right? That's all over the whole business world and the community of setting goals. Like, oh, get up at 4 a.m. and you'll be able to do all these things, do this stuff before you start your regular day. Well, that's not on my agenda, and for a mom of children, I'm sure that's not on their agenda either. So you have to find what resonates with you and makes you come alive at that point. And when your intention is clear and your why is clear, that becomes easy. That's where the ease comes in.
I was part of the 5 a.m. club for a while, and it worked great for me. Now, if I can get out of bed at 7:30 in the morning, I am so impressed with myself. And if I try and force myself out of bed much earlier than that, I am not able to get anything done. I am tired because that's where I am at right now, even though I don't drink. So, and when I was part of the 5 a.m. club, I was drinking. I'm not here to advocate for any way of being, except for, as you just said, right? It's about doing what works for you. And that's where ease and flow comes from. When we let go of the guilt and the resistance and the shame and the I'm doing this because this is what somebody on Instagram told me I should do, it's not going to work. It's going to suck. And when I was getting up at 5 a.m., I loved it because I had chosen to be the person that got up at 5 a.m. I was also hustling and I was grinding. However, there was a solid why, because I'd get up at 5 a.m. and by 8:45, I was able to quit down tools, put my ski gear on, and go ski powder because I had gotten the work done in the morning. And so every morning If I wanted to be first in line at the chairlift, I could do that knowing that I had already achieved the 3 hours of work that needed to be done in order for me to take 3 hours off and go and have some fun. That was a pretty solid why.
Yeah.
And worked.
Yeah. And you were able to sustain it, and there was ease in it, and there was joy because you were doing what was bringing you joy. It all fit together.
Exactly. All fit together. I think on that
There's
note,
no powder to go ski right now, so you're not get up at 5 a.m. So there we go.
There we go. That's exactly it. So do what it is that lights you up. Do it in a way that resonates with the future you, the dream life that you want to have, and resonate with a why that is in that space. Let go of the resistance, embrace the process, and then things will be a whole lot easier.
Boom, mic drop.
All right, with that, thank you so much for listening. We love having you here. We appreciate you being part of this. If this episode resonated with you and you know somebody that could really appreciate it, please share this with them. We would be most appreciative, and I'm sure the person that you share it with will love it because they know that you're thinking of them and that you're sending them stuff that might just help them out. Also, please leave us a comment, leave us a review, like, subscribe, tell us that you're listening because we would love to hear from you. I am Natasha Lockey. You can find me on Instagram at Betty Gohard. You can find me on Facebook and LinkedIn as Natasha Lockey. I'm a performance, life, and bike coach. I'm all about helping you move into a space where you can see that you're living your dream life right now and also build habits and tools for your success so that you can continue to live your best life, live your dream life, and really be present in this life experience. How about you, Ginny?
Yeah, I'm Ginny Branden. I'm an animal communicator and energy healer for animals and their people too. If you are looking to deepen your relationship with your pet and find more joy and harmony, then reach out to me and schedule a session. I would love to connect with both of you. You can find me on the web at soulpetconnections.com and on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube under the same handle. So thanks for joining us. You can find the podcast on all major podcast platforms as well as ridingintheweeds.com. And we have some additional extras there as well and are also on Facebook and Instagram under the same handle. Thanks so much for coming along for the ride today. We love you all and look forward to seeing you next time.